Well, hello everyone and welcome to a new video. And in this video, we are going to talk about basics of MySQL. Now, we already covered how do we configure, how do we build a database, and all these kind of details. And today we're just going to demonstrate how do we perform some basic operations on this database. And then later in the next videos, we're going to talk about how do we use PHP to have access to those databases and manipulate those databases. So just to refresh your information, we already had an RDS rational database instant in my AWS account, and we also has a server in my AWS account. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in, connect to that server for it to be open. So here's my server. And here's my database. I actually have two of them here. The one that we are using is the KCKCC-CIST. I really don't have to have access here. I don't need to do anything in this area. Most of the time I'm going to be playing here in this area, and I'm going to be playing in my SQL workbench. Now, I showed you in the last video that I have two servers here. One of them is local, and one of them here is actually at my AWS. So if I click here, I will have access to that server. And just to give you an idea, I've been messing around here and playing with my data. So if I go here to the administration, it's going to show me this list of tables. You're going to need this list of tables later when you're going to import some databases. But for now, we'll just focus on this. You can see here I have two databases, one of them called Ahmed, and this one was generated when I created my database in the first place. And then I was playing around, and as I said, I created this database where I have two tables. One of them is called courses. And those are the rows in that courses. Column, in that rows, and then I do have another table called enrollment, and I was playing with this. Now today I am just going to show you some basic commands, and then after that I'm going to go back and use those examples that I have here to demonstrate it. So first thing first, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be writing commands, and in these commands I'm going to be doing a lot of operations, completing a lot of operations. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you that whatever I can do here, I can get it done using my server. So the first thing we need to do here, we need to have access to the server. And to do that, you have to type MySQL hyphen, I believe, H. Follow that with the name of the server, which is this one. I hope I didn't forget it. And then you follow that with, I think, you, and you put the username. And this is my username. And you follow that. Oops. I take that out. Control V, this is username, hyphen P. And now he's asking for the password. I'm going to enter the password. And here we go. I do have access with no problems. Now, let me just go back here and show you something. In this CIST course, I'm going to create a new table. I'm just going to call it test1 table, okay, for simplicity. So let's go ahead and do that. Before you do anything, here's some commands I'm going to show you. Whatever I'm going to type here, I can type it here as well, and I will give the same results. The difference between using MySQL Workbench, it's graphically going to be presented to you, so it's going to be a lot easier to notice what's going on. But here, you can get the same job done. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to start with the keyword use, and I will say database. Now, of course, there's no color code or whatever. And then I'm going to type CIST underscore courses. That's the database. So you know what? Let me just generate a new one just to be safe. So I'm going to say here create database, and I'm going to call this database demo. You don't have to type uppercases, but I'm just going to go ahead and demo, and I'll put semicolon here. Now if I press enter, and it says, well, that database was created. Now let's go ahead and see the results. Now you can see there's no database with that name, but if I click on refresh, here's demo. As you can see here, it's created. Now, if I want to use that database again, I can come here and say use. I'm going to show you how do we use workbench. Previously, remember you put. Let me just go back and show you. Every single what I typed here. Let me just try to highlight it. This is called a query, and you write your query. Your query was going to contain some keywords and then some variables that you're going to use. In this case, create database. That's my keywords. And then demo. So this command here will generate and create a database for me. If I want to get something done in using workbench MySQL, you're going to have to come here and type use. I'm going to use uppercases for the keyword use database demo and put semicolon here. Now, did I misspell database? With that database, sorry, just use demo. My bad. Okay, because you have, I can see here, I have multiple databases here, so I'm going to have to specify which one I'm going to use. Now, to execute this line, you have to highlight it, and then you click on this lighting symbol here, and here it is. Now I can use demo. I'm going to create two tables, just to give you an idea. The first table, let's say, what do I want to do? I'm going to create a table for video games. Okay, so I'm going to be moving backward and forward. So I can come here and say use demo semicolon. So I can actually use database changed. And you can see here, look at this, the word demo changed here. Now in this area here, I can say create table, and I will call it a video game. Oh, no spaces, by the way. So video underscore game. You know what? Let's just make it lowercases. Y uppercases video game. Video games. Semicolon. Now, if I press enter, oops, must at least visible column. Create. Oh, of course, I forgot. Whenever you create a table, you need to tell me the columns that you want to have in that table that I'm about. So I'm going to go up here. So here it is, create table video games. Now, what do I want to put in that video games? I have to specify the columns. In this case, I'm going to put 2 columns. The first one is going to be the name. I'm calling it name. Now, after that, you have to tell me what is the data of the name. Usually, name is supposed to be a string. And to decide if you want to actually use a string, you have to come and say var char and tell me the length. How long do you want that string to be? I would go for 25 characters. And after that, you can add this not null here after that. Not null basically means whenever you create a record here, the game must have a name. You cannot have a game without a title. So that's why I type not null. I can say, well, just keep it simple for now. I can add more information, of course, about the game. For example, I can say type of game, and again, var char. Let's put, for example, 25 again. And then after that, I'm going to put, this is a very, very important element that you're going to have to add in every single table you create. We call it ID. You could call it anything, but we like to call it ID. Now, this ID data, it's basically going to give a unique number to every time you enter a record. Why is this important? Because you're going to be searching. And in a lot of cases, when you search, not searching, sorry, you're going to have multiple tables, and you need to get your tables to be connected. So you need what we call a primary key inside each table, which will hold a unique number. And then those unique numbers are going to be used to connect tables. Now, for now, I'm going to call it an ID. And in this ID column is going to be a type of integer. Again, you can go lowercases, uppercases. I'm mixing and matching here. And then after that, not null. And most importantly, to make sure that your value is going to be unique, you need to type the following. Auto _ increment. Okay? And then after that, you follow with the keyword key. Now there's two ways to do that. You can just type key here and you're done, or you can do this. You can put a column here and you type primary key ID, or ID primary key. Let me just make sure that I'm getting this correctly. Yes, primary key ID. So let me just write it down. Primary key, and you put between parentheses ID. This should be acceptable. Or, for simplicity, you can just come here and type key. Now let's see if this is acceptable. No, he doesn't like it. Let's say, what do you complain about here? You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual in the MySQL that the right syntax use. Oh, let's see here. What is the part that he doesn't like? Use near increment. He doesn't like the increment. Did I misspell it? Let me see. Oh, yeah, of course. Auto. And here we go. It works. Now let me just go straight to here and refresh the page. And immediately you'll see the table now has a video game. And if I click on it, click on the column, it says name, type, and ID. So I do created a table there. Now this table again is called video game. Let's create another video here, another table. And then I'm going to show you how do we get them connected later. So before I do that, let's go ahead and say create table. Now, once you create a table with the game and the type, you want it to be connected to another table. And in that table, we can put some values that every single game will have multiple values. For example, characters? No. Let's go with game. Game characters. Okay? Now, what are we going to do in this game characters? We need to let's open a parentheses and let's start. For example, every character will have a name. So character name. And we'll just go var char. And let's just say 100 characters. Let's say, for simplicity, we'll just put it with that, just character name. And then after that, I can come after that and say, okay, I still need an ID for this one. So it's going to type integer, and it's going to be, again, not, oh, I forgot not nil here. Not null. And here, not null. And then we'll just say, yep, not null, ID. Auto underscore increment. Oh, I forgot to mention, look at this. This is another helpful tool when you use workbench. Okay, so this is going to be my primary key here for this table. Okay, so I'll just keep it simple now. What I need to do now, I need to figure out a way that I can make this table to be connected to the previous table. What else do we need? Game ID, I forgot that. So I'm going to come here and say, let's see here, integer, not null. Course ID, yes. So sorry, game ID. Game ID. Now the game ID that I'm creating right now, it's the same game ID from the previous table. So it's going to be an integer, but this is not the key. So it's just going to be an integer and not null. This is important to have as well, not null. Now I need to find a way to get those two tables to be connected. Now they're not going to be connected automatically, but I need to do the following. Now each table has its primary key. We call them ID in both cases. In the second table that I'm creating now, game characters, I have a game ID. This game ID represents the ID from the previous table. Now I need to find out and figure out how do I connect this together. And to do that, we have a command called foreign key. So the foreign key here is going to be the game underscore ID, the game ID that I just created right here, space, follow that with references, and you have to name the table. And what was the previous table? Video game. Games. And you open a parenthesis and you close it, and in this field you type the ID. Now let me just put a semicolon. So let me go back here. We're creating a character name. Let me change the lowercase. We got an ID for the table that we're creating, game characters. We have a game ID, integer not null, and this game ID basically is going to be whatever your game ID you have previously. And then we have a foreign key game ID. So this game ID here is considered as the foreign key that's going to be referencing the ID from the video game table. Now let me see if we have any syntax errors here. It looks like we don't. Now if I refresh the page, and you can see here now I have those two tables. So let's say we made a mistake and we want to change something about this table. Well, there's a command called alter, and alter, you have to type alter table, and then you go ahead and do whatever you want to do. We have a list of commands. For example, you can add another, let's just go, for example, to this video game. If I click here and go to the columns, I do have an ID and type. Let's imagine I want to add another column into this table. So I have to go here and press enter, and I can come here and type alter, and you have to tell me which table you're trying to alter. Table, video games, and then I'll say add, for example. What do you want to add here? Well, we're trying to add a column here. So let's see, what can I add here? Year of production. So I'll just put add year, and I'll say integer, and I will say not null, and semicolon. Now I want you to look at the table here. I have name type, and then I should have the year added to it. Let me run it. He likes it, so let me refresh the page, and you can see here I got the year added to the table. Now there's a long list of commands that you can do with this alter. You can add items, you can remove columns, you can do a lot of things. Well, just trying to keep it simple for now. So now with that being said, let's go ahead and try to see and have a look at those tables. I'm going to switch to Linux now. Of course, I have to refresh the page. The longer you leave Linux, the more you have to refresh when you come back. So let's just go ahead and try to log in again. Oh no, didn't remember that. So here it is, MySQL Edge. Let me copy this again. Come on. Control V, -U, the username. -P. Okay, so let's go ahead. Use, what did we call the table again? We call it demo. Use demo. Now we move to demo. Now here's what I can do. I can say show, let's go uppercases, show tables from demo. Oh, I forgot semicolon. And here it is. It's showing me the tables in demo. We got the video game characters and we have the video game. Okay, so let's go ahead and say show. Maybe I have to exit. Let's try and see. Oh, I exited the whole thing. Let's go ahead and type show databases. And it's showing me all the databases that I have. You can see here, CIST course, demo, Ahmed, information, blah, blah, blah. This is the one that we're working on. Now, if I go back again and say show demo, it's showing me the databases. So this is just to show you how do you navigate through those databases. Now, if I type show columns from, and you tell me which database. Now, I'm going to just say video games, and I have to follow that with from demo. And put semicolon here, and it's showing me that columns from video games. Now, if I go back and change video games to be, what was the second one? Game characters. So let's go game characters. And now show me game characters. Now, if I come here and type use demo, semicolon, and now if I go back here, there's no need for me to type from demo because I'm using demo right now. It's going to give me the same, the results directly. So now there's no need for demo again, and it's showing me those tables. And here we go. Are those the same tables? Characters, characters. Yes, they are the same table. Let me try to see the video game one. And here you go. Now, of course, if I do the same thing here, I'll get the same results. I'm still using demo here. So I can come here and say show columns, columns, and show columns from game characters. And if I highlight it and run it, what did I knew it. I misspelled something here. So game characters. Okay. Let me run it, and it should show me. Here it is. This is my table. Now, if I just come here and change that to be video games, and I run it, I'll see the table here up. You don't like it again because of the G. Refresh it, and here it is. So this is how we navigate. This is how we see the information. Now, how do we insert data into these tables? And then after that, I'm going to show you how do you connect those tables. So let's go one by one and do it. Now, let me switch back here. To insert data, it's very simple. You have to write the command insert. And then you follow that with into, and they tell me where you want to insert the video. We'll start with the video game, for example. Video games. That's the name of the table. Yes, that's the name of the table. Now, what do you want to insert in that video game table? You have to do the following. You open a parenthesis and close it, and you type values, and you open and close on your parenthesis plus semicolon. In this area, you're going to have to list the information you want to insert. Now, here's the thing, which is extremely important. The order is important. I will follow the order. But the most important thing, this auto increment variable or element or column, the ID, you don't insert it, is going to be automatically inserted. So when you insert the first game, it's going to be having an ID of 1. You insert the second game, it's going to have the ID of 2. You insert the third game, it's going to have the ID of 3, and so on. So let's go ahead and do that. We know that we're supposed to insert a name. So let's start with name. I'm going to start listing the columns. You follow that with the type, and you follow that with the year. Okay? Now, it's really helpful if you look at the table as you insert those values. So you got name, you got type, and you got year. So we're going to go with the name. What do we want to put here? I will say Bloodborne. Okay, so that would be my name. Type RGP. And of course, it's a string that you have to put in between double quotations. And the year, I think 2013. I will say that. Press enter, and now that was generated. Let's go ahead and insert a second game. And in this game, I will just type God of War. God of War is also RGB, but I'm just going to type it action to have a different type of game. And I think that was like 2015 or 16. Let's just go ahead and with this number. It really doesn't matter. So this is my second game. Let's start another one. This time I'm going to type The Last of Us, for example. It's also an action game. And this one was, I believe, 2020. Yeah, we'll go with that. And here we go. Those are my 3 games. Now, if I want to show those values, let me go here, for example. I'll press enter. I will say show. Sorry, not show. Select. Select. Select what? You can name what you want to select. You can select name, for example, from video games, and you put semicolon. Look what's going to happen if I do that. Bloodborne, God of War, Last of Us. Well, what if I want to select game and year? Okay, let's first run it. And you'll see that I got the game and the year. What if I want to select everything? Well, you just put asterisk here. And now that will select everything. Now you run it and you can see here Bloodborne, RBG. Oh, look at the IDs. 1, 2, 3. Those are the years. What I can do here, I can follow that with where year, let's say, is greater than or equal 2016. So I want you to only show me the records where the year is 2016 and greater. And you can see here Bloodborne is not shown anymore because Bloodborne was earlier than that. So you can actually select, put some conditions here to show you only what you're looking for. You can put the asterisk, and there's a long list. I provided you with a PowerPoint that will show you all the possible cases. You can sort the values, and you can do much more. So let me just take this one away, and let's just select those games. Of course, the other table is empty for now, so you're not going to be able to see anything. But let's go ahead and populate that with some values. And in this case, I'm going to put 2 characters for each one of those games. I'm going to have to go and ask Google for some names, but let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm still in demo. In this case, I'm going to go insert into game characters. And you know what? It will be very helpful before I do that if I actually show the table. So let me just go up. And I'll say show so here we go. So we got the name of the character, and well, we don't need to give him an ID, but we need to give him the game ID. Okay, so that's important. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me see here. So one by one, insert into, now we know it's supposed to be game IDs. One of the things that it's really not good in this type of technology is if you make a mistake, you have to go and delete whatever mistake you did and get back. And I made a mistake with the ID numbers, and it was a big mess later. So game characters. And now we have the character name, so you have to put the exact character name. And then we're going to have to put after that the game ID. Game_ID. So let's go ahead and take those values. We need to take them out. So let's talk about the first game. The first game has Hunter. Okay, and then the game ID for that, we know it's 1. So we'll just go ahead and put that as it is. Now that is done. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Instead of game Hunter, we'll just go ahead and say zombie. Even though there is no zombies in that game. But here it is. Now let's go ahead and do the second game, which is We said, what was the second game? It was God of War. There are 2 characters in God of War. Now remember, the ID number is 2. I'm going to go quickly Google God of War characters just to get some names. Here it is. Kratos. Copy that. Good luck pasting it here. Control V. Oh, that worked. So let's go ahead and change the second one to be his son. And here we go. So that's the second game. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the third game. And this time, we're just going to have to change this to be 3. And the third game characters, which is the Last of Us. Let me just go back here, take this out, and let's just change here, Last of Us 2. Ellie and Joel. So let's go ahead and do that. So okay, here it is. Okay, now I'm done. Let me just go ahead and try to show. So select asterisk from game characters. And here we go. Hunter, zombie. Look at the IDs and look at those are the game ID that is associated with. And that's how we create those 2 tables. Now, I'm going to try to show you how do we join them in a sec. But I already showed you how do you alter a table, how do you change a table. You can also update your database. For example, I really don't like the character name in this table. So what I can do this. I can say update. Update what? Update, what do we call them? Game characters. Okay, so I'm going to update game characters, and I will say set. What I'm trying to set here, I'm trying to set. I'm going to try to set. Let's say no, it's not the character game. Let's say in the Bloodborne characters, I really don't like the word zombie and hunter, and I would like to use the right name. So I could come here and say Bloodborne characters. You're not going to show me Bloodborne? Oh, the hunter. So that was right. Oh my God, where am I? The doll. That's a good character. The father. Okay, so let me just use the hunter. I'll keep the hunter, and I'm gonna use this guy here. Okay, so let's go back here. Which one of them we're trying to change here? We are trying to change character name. And instead of zombie, I want to set it. No, sorry, not instead of zombie. I'm just going to put the name of that character, and I'll just come here and follow that with where ID equal, and tell me what was the ID of the zombie. It was 2, and put semicolon. So this is how you change values inside a table. You use the keyword update. Alter will let you change the property of the table overall, adding columns, removing columns, and do that. But if you want to change a value of an item inside a table, you have to do this. What you need to know a special or unique value, which usually we use the key here because we know the key is not going to change. And we go and we change whatever we change. So the character name for the ID2, which was zombie, and now it's supposed to be Father Gascoigne something. Now let's go ahead and show the table again, and you can see here now it's not zombie anymore, and I changed the table. So let me go back here, and I'm going to show you that the tables that we have, we can actually we can view the data and order them if we want to. So let's say I'm going to select video games. Instead of selecting video games, let's select the other one. So select asterisk from game characters. And let me just run it. And here it is. Now you can see here the games are basically sorted by the ID. You see here. Now, what if I want to sort the data? Let's just put it that way. So you can say by, and what do you want to use to sort the data? You want to use the game ID, or the character name. So let's go ahead with the character name. Now this should produce different results. Now, why are you complaining about the by? By not valid by into file. Okay, let's just give this a try and see. Obviously he doesn't like it. Let's see here. Select asterisk from ordered by. Sorry, I have to type ordered. Order by. Now let me run it. Come on, what do you don't like here? Character name. A game character. Oh, character name. Okay. Character name. Did I misspell it again? Let's try. Yep, here he likes it. Now look now. Look at the table. A, E, F, H, J, K. So you see here it was ordered from alphabetically. Now, what if I want to do the opposite? You have to type D, E, S, C after that, and now you see is going to reverse the order. And here it is. So this is how you sort your data. Ordered by, and you type what you want to use to order, and then by default it's going to go from the smallest value to the greatest value, or alphabetically A all the way to Z. But if you want to reverse that, you type D, E, S, C. I can do the same thing again if I go with ID, and if I run this, oh, he doesn't like it for some reason. Yep, he doesn't like it. Let me try game underscore ID. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. It's the table that you're going to have to change. Sorry, ID, my bad. Now, if I run it, you'll see it's going to go back to the original order. But if I come here and say D, E, S, C, and I run it, you will notice that the order is going to be reversed from the greatest value to the smallest value. So this is how you sort your data so you can look at them. Now the last part I'm going to talk about here is how do we connect those two tables. And the idea here is very simple. It's very important to understand the concept of those two tables. This character video game has the foreign key, okay, which is the and that foreign key, which is the game ID that we just generate. So here's what we're going to do here. We are going to go and select the video game. So let's go ahead and do that. Select asterisk from a video game. Game or games? Games. After you're done with that, you follow that. I can go enter the next line if I don't want my line to be really long. Join. And then you join what? You join game character. Okay, we're still not done. On, very important, game dot ID. Let me try to remember here. Yes, not game.id, sorry. We are to have to go and put video game. Video games, that's the name of the table, dot ID equal game characters dot game underscore ID, semicolon. So let me just explain what I just did here. I'm selecting all the video games, the 3 video games that I have there. And I'm trying to join them with the game characters on. This is very important. what am I doing here? I'm from the video game table. I have a key here. It's called ID, and that ID should equal inside the game character the game ID column. So let's just go ahead and run it. And he didn't like it. Let's see here, demo video game character doesn't exist. Well, did I misspell game characters again? It looks like that's the case. Game characters. Let's try now. He still doesn't like it. Table game characters doesn't exist. Well, here it is. Let's go back again. Game CH. Here it is. Yep. I think the font is... Nope. He doesn't like it. Let's see. Why is that the case here? Well, they're all in demo. So select Asher from video games. Oh, it's here actually. That's the problem, not this one. Control V. Let's see if he's going to complain about it now. Oh, he still doesn't like it. Well, it does exist. I don't know what you're complaining about here. So, game. Say join game character on videogame.id equal game characters. And now we got it. So look at this. Look at this. Very, very important. Bloodborne. RGB. The ID is 1 and 1. The year's 2013. And here is character, hunter, and father. This one is ID 1. This is ID 2. This is game ID 1 and 1. You can see here that we have. Now for the God of War, you can see the two characters. For the Last of Us, you can see the two characters. And this is how basically we join those two characters. Now, this is not everything in MySQL. This is just to give you an idea about how do you navigate through it. This is not a MySQL course, so I really, I'm not going to judge you based on the knowledge of your database, but it's a really good idea to have that type of knowledge. In the next video, we're going to learn how do we put this in a PHP section and how do we create a login system. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.